This is Wadu TV. Truth and integrity.
I was here, your mum in our car, Body TV Sunny. My intention war Adom Otchere. I senior journalist or Metro TV na kache. Na Captain Spantan watching what to be their Captain Papa. Captain Koka say Adom Otchere so or cover UK elections 1990 here. And we try and throw Adom Otchere ne Baumian and Baumian so the band throw ye number 1. And we should have Baumiao. Eti Adom Otchere nse mo Kenyan na yentro na Paula show videos and pictures and was say man kase make cover 99 time is it 2000 something and then asemba muntieni Captain Smart asema me kan wontieni ye and wa fan different our TV so it was here country pa na say wa plan no wa tuja dey ma captain a emunsem bebre now Sammy Gyamfi so watch no am say after say Baumia invite journalists say omombra metie na no din sema wo e de magana for no mo nso wase mbese bi mo bisa no no o ma o miska kakra ai omo ho ye de na enumu e na akoye se Sammy Gyamfi ene ndisi fo bi ka ene MPPDS kanko ha e na mama journalist for na Adom Otchere say Sammy Gyamfi we hypocrite mamuka sa nyina mu ye hypocrite anya bia journalist na force wo mana omutom baby o journalist for tom baby na ye from somombra entis wa bana mu compensate na ye den ye ntua ne ka ye compensate menska krade a no so de ka na bae o tofu ugu ni kemu obi kro fa torture bi fa boot bi nante ye onfanye no ntonsuo no eno so a bosibuye eno eye Adom Otchere se mo watoto na mahama nso de om kakra ye beko na yakwakote Adom Otchere.
He says, this is from who? Bridget Otu, is it? No, Michael Diko. Replying to Bridget Otu at Baumia says, okay, then JM did not try for the journalists who came for meet the media encounter. As for MPP, everything is about money. Ebo Kwanzaa and Adom Otchere definitely took 10,000 CDs plus for Larry Dogbe and Belamundi, dear, either 500 or nothing. I'm going to settle this matter about journalists being paid tonight. Just before we do the Baumia bit, I'll settle the matter, okay? I'll settle it. It's going to be very clear. What's this one? Augustine West says, here we go, Adom Otchere. Whatever, okay, this is quoting what Adom Otchere said at the event. Whatever happens in December, Dr. Baumia, have changed the politics of Ghana and Africa for a long time to come. God bless you. Okay, yes, that's what I said. That's what I said as a matter of fact. You know, you cannot challenge facts. You can challenge opinion. I made the point about how Baumia's campaign has changed. Anybody should come and tell me that is not true. Since Sunday, Monday morning, I listened to all the radio. Nobody was able to say what I said is not true. We never speak on truth. You can call it bias. You can call it political. We never say something that's untrue. And everything we say is research. I heard the man sitting on the radio wearing Dutch spectacles was commenting on how some things I said was a lie, about how I couldn't have covered some election. I will expose it right now. You see it. I'm coming to it right now. I have the information. You see, even when they are criticizing you, they can't listen. They can't listen to what you said. And I'm wondering, because the people that are working with him, if I do that here, if I put up something here, that is wrong. One of the young people will tell me, no, boss, it's not correct. That's not what he said. That's not the year in which it happened. Because it's in the books. But somehow, I mean, some people didn't like it. What I said. Okay, so there was saying, political examiner says, so Adom Otchere literally went to campaign for the flag bearer of the MPP, H.E. Baumia, at the just ended Baumia meet the press conference. No, I didn't campaign for him. I was making a statement of fact. I didn't ask anybody to vote for him. I was making a statement of fact that the young man has changed the face of Ghanaian politics. Haven't you seen it? Come and tell me that is not true. Somebody should tell me that is not true. That before Baumia started doing what he does, somebody else was doing it. Show me who was doing it. Nobody. And I said, I've covered elections from 1998 up till today, and I've not seen anybody do it. And I'm going to show it. Okay, all righty. Tonight, we have so much to show. As journalist Adom Otchere didn't have a question to ask, he grabbed the mic to give VP Baumia fans Mr. Vice President, whatever happens in December, you have changed the politics of Ghana and Africa for a long time. Now, how is that giving Baumia fans, and how is that untrue? Where is it? How is that untrue? And I wanted to set the basis for my assessment and my analysis that I have covered elections, I've covered it, and that's a matter of fact. They tried to say that on their morning program, a guy wearing black spectacles talking something about it's not true, and he didn't even hear what I said. So I'm going to play for you what I said and what he said I said. Just listening, they can't listen. Just listen to something. And you see 1998. Then he comes and says 1992. When I said 1998, he didn't hear it. I mean, what kind of, where is this journalism coming from? Even listen to something and respond, you didn't hear it. When I said 2001, he said 1991. I mean, what is this? Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. Bernard the Great says that this Paul Adom Otchere guy is the biggest fonfooler in the world. A Mumu journalist, shaking my head. Oh, Bernard, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? You have to say something. You see, people, are you bereft of just thinking, the one we used to do in class 3 at age 8? They were teaching us how to, that's thinking you can't think. You just write, what is it, fonfooler in the world. He's a Mumu journalist. Because of what? Nothing. You just write on Twitter. You should be ashamed of yourself. It means that you are not able to process anything. I'm sorry. Oh, Bernard. He calls himself Bernard the Great. All right. God amongst men. These Twitter people, their names are interesting. No? God amongst men. Okay. The most stupid person on this earth is, I now understand how it hurts when people cannot think. You see, when people cannot think, it pains them that they cannot think. And they are not about to admit that they cannot think. They just, the pain out of their heart that, yeah, I wish I could think like this man. I wish I could think like this woman. I wish I could think like this journalist. I wish I could think like this lawyer. That pain in them is what leads them to say, the most stupid person on this earth is Paul Adom Otchere. God amongst men. And those kind of names they take so that you can't find them. When you see these people with these kind of funny names, oh my goodness. Anyway, Peace Nyale Megbe says, laughing my ass off, I think. Paul Adom Otchere, I cannot believe he used to rate them. I don't understand. I cannot believe we used to rate them. Oh, you used to rate what? Just stop rating what you are rating. Zulga Nani says, if I tackle corruption now, what will I do when I come to office? Host a clean hands reality show. What's that? Maybe, and let Paul Adom Otchere host the show. What's he talking about? Zulga Nani. You should come well. Bruce says, one thing I like about Paul Adom Otchere is that he's never a hypocrite. He doesn't pretend, and he makes you aware of where he belongs. A lot of journalists claim they are neutral, but in fact, their actions tells you exactly where they belong. It's funny. Well, I have always said that I am not neutral. I'm a right-wing news reporter. I am not neutral at all. The responsibility on me as a journalist is to be impartial, and that I always be impartial. But I have a view on the matters, and my views are right-wing political philosophy. God bless Alhaji Baumia. God bless Alhaji Baumia. Now they should tell me that what I said is untrue. I mean, I'm waiting for it. What did I say that's untrue? This morning, or was it yesterday morning? I think yesterday in the morning. The guy in the black spectacles in the early morning. I don't understand him. I think that, you know, sometimes we're in the same job. You're a footballer, another person's a footballer. You're a journalist, somebody's a journalist. Or I don't even call myself it. I'm a news reporter, okay? News reporter. And I do news reports. So I go to Baumia's event, I report. I've been doing that for a long time. I've done it for Radio Gold, I've done it for Joy FM, I've done it for Choice FM, I've done it for City FM, I've done it for Metro TV, reporting news and creating documentaries about news. That's what I do. If you can't do it that way, you can learn how to do it. If you don't want to learn how to do it, you don't have to be concerned negatively that because people are saying Paul Adom Otchere is something, I have to come and say that he's not that something. Otherwise, when they say he's something, it makes it look like he's better than me and I don't want him to. If you want to be better, just do your work. Just do it. People will see it. Here's this guy. I don't know whether he's done a news report before. I don't know whether he's actually done a news report before. Go to the assignments, bring the news report to the newsroom and do it. Whether he has any documentary to his name, whether he has any news documentary. That's what we do as journalists. We write reports and all of that. Anyway, so somehow he wanted to participate in what happened at the Baumia event because of the trends that was going on. Then he picks himself onto his television and radio station. And then he says things that I didn't say, and then says that I'm lying. Because he doesn't understand how a journalist can have such rich experience and it's still normal. Because maybe if he had that rich experience, he'll probably walk on everybody's shoulders. So he doesn't understand that you can have rich experience and still be adept at the work. The work is most important. It's not about saying anything. So when you say you've covered elections from 98, he thinks that is a lie because he thinks it's not possible. Have a look at what he said.
Papi Okroma oye centroni na me pese me boni din oye trofo chen obi a osede okover UK elections obwa time na 1991 UK for to aba na wadi mfie sai say o mfie sai cause was on di 50 it take 1991 92 93 94 95 96 1991 kura be sin ne how many years but you calculation ne mami
yes
when you follow a liar, you become a liar. Principle of 2.
I covered elections in UK in 2001. 2001. Then he says, I said 91. And then 91, there was no Metro TV. There was no Joe FM. There was no private radio. There was nothing. But I don't know. I'm not sure how they look at it. Play his sound again and go and tell him tomorrow morning that, hey, Chief. But all the people in his studio, nobody could tell him that, look at the guy's video. He didn't say that. He didn't say 91. Nobody could tell him that. I mean, if you can't do the work, do your own and let us do our own. Don't be in a hurry to come and do some of our work or to denigrate from our work because we don't do the things you do. We don't sit down and insult people. We do well researched. So when I come and say something, it is correct. It's not wrong. So don't sit in your studio and try and make it wrong and only expose your ignorance and your lack of preparation before coming to a story. When you're a news reporter, you are trained that you have to be prepared before you come to a story. You don't come to a story with lack of preparation. So when the man says 2001, you say he said 91. Look, then go and tell him tomorrow morning. And these are the things he does, and then Kojuanka says he's suspended. These are the things he does. Play the man again. Play Captain Smart again.
Papa bi Okroma oye centroni na me pese me boni din oye trofo chen obi a osede okover UK elections obwa time na 1991 UK for to aba na wadi mfie sai say o mfie sai cause was on di 50 it take 1991 92 93 94 95 96 1991 kura be sin ne how many years but you calculation ne mami. When you follow a liar, you become a liar. Principle of 2. 1991, ABC 2024. 33 years. Paul Adom Otchere is only 50. That's 33 years, you know. When you take it, if Gyamfi Paul Adom Otchere 50. 33 years. What is 33 50 Mugura Akase?
I also covered the UK election in 2001 for Tony Blair, and I covered also the UK election in 2019. You will find in those places that they were all...
What else can I say? I said it. I covered the election in 2001 for Tony Blair. And then he says that, oh my goodness. Our time is running. We have so much to do. Let's go to now this issue about covering the UK elections. I had an interview in Good Evening Ghana some time back. Okay, first of all, show the photograph of myself and David Lammy. This is 2001 in covering the UK elections. I was detailed to be at a constituency called Tottenham Hill constituency, just next to Enfield Southgate. This is myself and David Lammy. David Lammy was the Labour parliamentary candidate for the constituency, and this I was deployed there because this is a constituency that has Ghanaians and Jamaicans. So forget my big suit and all that. This is me in 2001 covering the UK election in 2001 for the BBC, and that's David Lammy. David Lammy later became a minister for education under Gordon Brown, and he visited Ghana. Of course, he had forgotten about this incident. So he visited Ghana, and the British High Commission thought he should come and have an interview on Good Evening Ghana. So please, tomorrow morning, tell Opana that I really did cover the elections in UK in 2001. And in Ghana, I didn't say 1992. I said 1998, the MPP contest. And I've covered 98 election in MPP, 2000, the national election, 2001, the UK election, 2002, the internal NDC contest, 2004, the presidential election, 2010, the contest between Professor Mills, Spielgaber, and Ediana, and Akufo-Addo, and Alan Martin, 2012 election, 2016, 20 now, and then 24 come in. I have never seen an African politician that articulated policy until Mahamudu Bawumia came. And whatever happens in December, God will bless Mahamudu Bawumia because he has given us a standard for the young people to hold the politicians of tomorrow onto a standard. That's the standard. And that's the kind of journalism they do. See this our friend here. He's there and the West African Media Foundation. They say that the things that Bobia has been saying is unsubstantiated. That they do radio programs and call themselves journalists only to come and insult people and do unsubstantiated things. The things that they say is unsubstantiated. The things that you say in journalism must have the biggest foundation and must be the pivot around which society revolves. You cannot be a journalist and be talking and be told by a research organization that what you do is full of insults and unsubstantiated. I'm not sure why the National Media Commission is not saying anything about it. That the person calls himself a journalist, he's doing a radio program, and then a research institution goes in, research into his work for a period, and comes to the conclusion that 90% of what he says is unsubstantiated or it is insults. And then they feel that it's okay, they think it's okay, that's up to them. But we will not fall for those low standards. Professor P.A.V. Ansan used to write something. He says that he will not descend into the gutter with them, but he will rise up to the standard of the ivory tower and make sure that the standards of journalism are continuously high. May he rest in eternal peace, and we will make sure that the standards of journalism are continuously high. Not this kind of journalism where the Media Foundation for West Africa comes to the conclusion that the things that he says are either insults or is unsubstantiated. And that is the content of a full radio program, a full media program, which has been assessed to say that what he says is unsubstantiated and is full of insults. But some people applaud it. Let's move on very quickly. Okay, now, next story. When the news thief no longer has a camera, what happens? We've been sitting here talking about journalism and people doing some kind of journalism which we described as I catch you journalism. They always have some camera, some recording. As I keep saying, as far as I'm concerned, for the period that I've done this news reporting, I've never recorded anybody before. I don't film people. I've never done it before. I don't do that. I go to somebody's office, then my phone is in my pocket, then I press record, then I'm recording. We don't do that. I've never done that before. Because that is not how we were trained in journalism. Maybe because at that time there were no sophisticated phones, but we were not told to be recording and filming people. Now, this Manasseh and co, that's what they do. That's all they have. So right now that everybody's afraid of Manasseh, so nobody listens to him. He can't go to anybody's office, he can't film anybody. As soon as he puts something down, it's an error. As soon as he puts a document down, it's an error. Just recently, he was apologizing to Napo for saying that he's talking like a KJT market preacher. He made such a reckless comment. Then he came to apologize. Then he wrote a book. Okay, let's see what he wrote in his book. Put the book there. All right. In page 98 and 99, this is what Manasseh said. He said the Universal Merchant Bank, formerly state-owned merchant bank, generated uproar in 2013 when it was sold to a private equity fund firm, Fortis. At the time, First Rand Bank of South Africa was said to be willing to pay 176 million for 75% of merchant bank shares, while Fortis offered only 90 million cedis for 90% of the shares in the state-owned bank. The controversy deepened when it emerged that the brother of President Mahama, Ibrahim Mahama, was one of the biggest debtors to the then merchant bank, which resulted in the bank struggle. This is what Manasseh wrote in his book. This is what he wrote. Now, we've been talking about I catch you journalism and journalism of verification. You are writing a book covering a certain period. You are indicating that a state bank went down as a result of somebody's debt to the bank. You don't know that you have to write a letter to Mr. Ibrahim Mahama or Engineers and Planners and tell them that I am writing a book and this is the information that's available to me. If you have anything to the contrary, please let me know. Otherwise, I am publishing what is available to me. Is that not very basic? Is that not very, very fundamental? For those who went to GIJ, I didn't get the opportunity and the privilege. But for those who went to GIJ, were you not told that verification is the most fundamental thing about journalism? And we've been talking about that all the time because they have hidden cameras. They don't care about verification. You just use the camera, film you, and go and write anything. That's why he goes to ABAJ's office and says, I'm coming to interview you on something to make you look good. And then he turns the interview the other way. ABAJ is unguarded, and then he talks, and then he's in trouble. This is the kind of journalism they practice. They are always holding camera. when it comes to assessing the work, reading a document and appreciating it, they are not able to do that. They are not able to do that. Where do you learn your journalism so that you don't know that you are writing these facts? You don't make reference in your book to where you got the information from. Even the fact that somebody bid for X amount of money, where did you get it from? Don't you know that when you're writing a book, you have to put into brackets your source of this kind of information? He doesn't know that, and his supporters don't know it. Suleiman Brahma, sitting at West African Media Foundation doing research on media houses. You don't know that you have to tell Manasseh that when you dispose to these facts, you have to show the source of it. You don't know that. And then you write Ibrahim Mohammed's name, and you say that as a result of his indebtedness to the bank collapsed. And you think as a businessman, he will sit down and watch you spew out things that are incorrect about his character and his caliber. I don't even understand it. And they call themselves the investigative journalists. He can't even verify facts. Now, what is the more difficult problem? What's the most laughable thing? He thought he was doing this against Akufo-Addo. That's his book that he published. Bring me a copy of the book. He thought he was doing it against Akufo-Addo. This is the whole matter. He thought he was doing a book against Akufo-Addo's image. Thank you very much. He thought he was doing this a book. He has still not come to autograph it for us. Now he has retracted and apologized. The people who are buying the book in Oslo on Amazon, they will not see the apology. I don't know how Ibrahim Mahama himself feels about it. But if a man is going to apologize by Facebook and the book is still circulating around the world without the apology in it, next time you go to Chase Manhattan in New York, they will tell you that as a result of your business, Merchant Bank collapsed, because that apology he claims he's rendered is not in the book. He published a book and he just published a book thinking that he was going to denigrate Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo doesn't have time for him. He's going to focus on what he's doing and his last months as president, and making sure that he does everything he can to convince the Ghanaian people that they should elect Mahamudu Bawumia. That's what Akufo-Addo is focused on. He's not interested in this, your book, and coming to say that his family people are thieves. He's not interested. But there you can and find your match. Ibrahim Mahama then comes to tell you that, hey, stop right there. I'm not Akufo-Addo. You can say what you want about Akufo-Addo. Me, you can't say that. I'll deal with you. Put out the letters. Bobby Banson wrote to him. Put it up. Put it up. Let's look. Okay. So, Ibrahim Mahama was not a debtor of Merchant Bank. This is the lawyers. They write as follows. We write as solicitors of Ibrahim Mahama and have instructions of our client to write to you in respect of the above subject. At pages 98 and 99 of your latest book, The President Ghana Never Got, you publish as follows. The Universal Merchant Bank, formerly state-owned merchant bank, generated uproar in 2013 when it was sold to a private equity firm, 40 years. At the time, first round of South Africa was said to be willing to pay 176 million for 75% of the bank shares, while Forties offered only 90 million for the 90% of the shares in the state-owned bank. Lawyers continue. The controversy deepened when it emerged that a brother of President Mahama, Ibrahim Mahama, was one of the big debtors of the then Merchant Bank, which resulted in a bank struggle. In the said publication, you did not make reference to the source of the information you published. We therefore assume that you have presented the alleged indebtedness of your client to Merchant Bank as fact, personally known to you. You see what the lawyers wrote? You see? I didn't even know they wrote. They just said that you did not provide the source of your information. You can't write a book and depose to this material without giving a source of it, because you are not the governor of the bank. You are not the one who evaluated the bid. You are not the Securities Exchange Commission. And as a result of that, where did you get the information from? If you want to do fidelity to your readers, you necessarily need to tell them the source of this information, Bank of Ghana, annual report, something. You have to write that in the book. Doesn't Manasseh know that? He wants the lawyers to. That's why the lawyers don't respect us. Because the lawyers will say, but this journalist, he doesn't know that he should produce it. So that's why the lawyers don't respect us. We wish to state as follows. Mr. Ibrahim Mahama has never been indebted to Merchant Bank or a successor, UMB. Indeed, our client has never applied or received any facility from the said bank in his personal capacity or for personal use. Engineers and Planners Company Limited, which is a separate legal entity from our client, applied for and received a loan from Merchant Bank. In February 2014, the amount of 28 million was paid by Engineers and Planners Company Limited to Merchant Bank in full and final settlement of the loan amount. A copy of correspondence from Merchant Bank to this effect is attached, Annex J1. Unfortunately, just like you, most persons have ignorantly persisted in publishing the unfounded allegation of our client being heavily indebted to Merchant Bank, and which indebtedness led to the sale of Fortis. Okay, we recently found out that contrary to the evidence, blah, 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 okay, they said they also brought an action against merchant banks. So fundamentally, Manasseh Azuri, in his efforts to chase down Akufo-Addo, now has his tail between his legs. And he has to apologize. And why must he do that? He must do that because he doesn't practice responsible journalism. Sorry. He must do that because he doesn't practice responsible journalism. If you practice responsible journalism, you won't have any problem with publishing a book because you will just write to engineers and planners and say that this is the information I have. And I will go along with it unless you send me the contrary. Now, this is Manasseh Azuri apologizing. Businessman Ibrahim Mahama has, okay, says the Universal Merchant Bank, formerly state-owned bank, generated upward. No. Where is the, is that the apology? Okay. In my latest book, so this is apology. In my latest book, The President Ghana Never Got, I discussed the banking crisis under Akufo-Addo administration and how some banks were saved from the collapse. In providing a background to the Universal Merchant Bank and the circumstances under which its new owners acquired it in 2013, I mentioned the controversy that arose when it emerged that one of the debtors of the erstwhile Merchant Bank was Ibrahim Mahama. In fact, the fact is that the 28 million debt I referenced was owned by his company, Engineers and Planners, the legal entity, and not Ibrahim Mahama personally. Consequently, I retract the said reference to Ibrahim Mahama as the debtor and apologize for any adverse effects that may have been occasioned by the said publication. It was a genuine oversight, which I am taking immediate steps to correct in the online version of the book and in subsequent reprints. Manasseh Azuri. He says he calls an oversight. Oversight is irresponsible and reckless journalism. It's not oversight. And this is a journalism that you are used to, my friend. This is a journalism that you are used to. You don't do any hard work. You sit down and people come and whisper to you when they lose tender that somebody won the tender and there was corruption. And then you come and do something on it and say it's corruption. It's corruption. When somebody just whispered to you, that's the problem you have. People whisper to you. People who don't like Ibrahim Mahama whisper to you that, oh, Fortis was because of Ibrahim. And that's what you publish. That's how you write your books, Manasseh Azuri. You write books on rumors. Rumors. That's how you write books. As a journalist, you come and pick a book and you use rumors to write a book, and we go and pay money. I paid money for that. I should be suing you. In fact, to tell the lawyers that they should take legal action against Manasseh because I bought the book with money. You publish rumors, and we should come and buy it. You publish rumors. Every day you're publishing rumors. So you come and say that it was an oversight. Oversight? You've published this book to thousands of us who are going to read it. And it's all about rumors, but that's how you do your work. So you have to learn that the work is not like that. If you think that journalism is simple, it's not simple. Here's Manasseh, who said before that 99% of Ghanaian businessmen are thieves. So when he sees a rich man, he's angry. So he sees Ibrahim Mahama as a rich man, he's angry. That Ibrahim Mahama is a rich man, he's angry. Every rich man is a thief, and every rich man is his enemy. And he doesn't want any rich man in Ghana. All of us should be like me and him. He wants all Ghanaian businessmen to come down to the level that he and I are, so that we are not businessmen. But these are businessmen, they are serious people, and they are not thieves. But because he thinks everybody who has money is a thief, everybody is a rich man, and he wrote it in his Facebook. You go and check. He said 99% of Ghanaian businessmen are thieves. That's what he said. So because you're a businessman, Ibrahim Mahama is a businessman, he thinks he's a thief. And then people whisper to him that, oh, the bank was collapsed because of Ibrahim. Then he goes to write it in a book. Book of rumors. Rumors. That's how he writes book. Rumors. He thought he was chasing Akufo-Addo. Now he has to retract and apologize to Ibrahim Mahama. That's the story. And that's what we've been talking about every day. The reason why we pick up this story to discuss it, this is the point we'll be making every day. For us, it is known to us that these people do the work like that. And we really need to have safeguards and to be gatekeepers to protect the institution of journalism so that the children who are coming will come up to the standard of journalism, the true, real standard. That's what we need. Journalists don't have to be paid to attend Bawumia's press conference, but they need to be sufficiently compensated. Shouldn't they? And viewers, I ask you the question. Yes, shouldn't they be sufficiently compensated? Yes, we understand that journalists are not to be paid. Their media houses pays them. The salary is for media houses. But they have to be compensated. I don't see the hula baloo about it. You are holding a press conference on a Sunday. The journalists who are married and have children, they are spending time with their family on a Sunday. The journalists who are not married, they are spending time with their girlfriend and boyfriend on a Sunday. They are watching football on a Sunday. They'll come to work on Monday. You asked them to come to Kempinski on Sunday, and we all think that they shouldn't be compensated. Some of the journalists came from outside Accra. Those who are coming from outside Accra, they should buy their own bus ticket and plane ticket to come from Tamale to Accra to cover Bawumia's press conference. What kind of hypocrisy is this? I do not understand it. What kind of hypocrisy is this? And why are we following after people who are not leading us astray? People who are not demonstrating any capacity to produce thinking. Those who are not demonstrating, they are demonstrating actually zero capacity to produce any thinking. All they know is insults. And why are we following them on this tangent? What is the point? That Bawumia gave journalists money and so something must come down, all hell must break loose. He's calling a press conference on a Sunday. He's inviting the journalists to come. It will be irresponsible of the Bawumia campaign to invite journalists to come from all over the country to come and sit at the moving pig, listen to him, produce the stories out of it, and compensate them for nothing. It will be irresponsible. It will be the height of irresponsibility on the Bawumia campaign. So as we say, journalists don't have to be paid to attend Bawumia's press conference, but they need to be sufficiently compensated. Journalists don't have to be paid to attend Bawumia's press conference, but they need to be sufficiently compensated. Shouldn't they? What's wrong with this? And that's the point I was making. Sammy Gyamfi should come and tell me that when the journalists came to John Mohammed's press conference, he didn't pay them anything. He didn't compensate them for anything. If he didn't, he's a very wicked man. And he's an irresponsible director of communication for a former president. That you call journalists to come to a press conference on a Sunday when they are not working. You want them to put the story together. Now, you are doing it on Sunday because on Monday, you are busy on your campaign. And you don't want to be in Accra on that day because you have a campaign schedule somewhere else. And so you call them to come on a Sunday, and it is reckless on the part of the politician or corruption on the part of the journalist to take the money. I do not even know what we are talking of hypocrisies in this country. What hypocrisy is that? What is the hypocrisy about? That people should come to press conference and they shouldn't be compensated. They shouldn't be paid, but they should be compensated because you are asking them to come and cover your story. When a journalist wakes up in the morning, he must have his own story to cover. The journalist has an editorial policy. They decide what they are covering. If you want them to come and cover your story, you have to compensate them for that. What are we doing? If they are doing their... Here in Metro TV, when we invite people to come, we used to give them coupons in good times. We give them coupons because we have invited them to come. We are building from their expertise to build our Good Morning Ghana program. We are building from Kwesi Pratt's expertise and Kweku Bako's expertise for the Good Morning Ghana program. When Mr. Aruna was here, we give them coupon for petrol. We cannot pay them. We cannot pay for the expertise, but we can compensate them. Compensate. That's what we do to guests. Now, if you are sitting here somewhere and you want to use our platform to publish your story and you want us to come and cover your event, you think that you shouldn't compensate? And if a responsible person decides to compensate the journalist, we call it corruption. That Fourth Estate is doing investigative research on whether Bawumia paid journalists. They should go and correct their book and stop the reckless journalism they do. And don't go and check. When Mahama did it, they go and check it. When Mahama had a press conference, the Fourth Estate go and check whether journalists were paid. When Jenan Opoku-Agyeman took female journalists somewhere and gave them her policy and they publicized it, the Fourth Estate go and check whether Jenan Opoku-Agyeman gave the journalists money. Is it not out of grapevine that we heard that she gave them 8,000? What is the problem with giving them 8,000? Why should she be so irresponsible that journalists come to cover her policy statements and are going to publish her policy and she shouldn't compensate them in any way? They should go away because they are journalists. Why you think journalists are some people who don't have blood in them? They don't buy food. They don't go to the market. They don't buy car tire. They don't pay electricity bill. You think they don't do that? So when they come and render a service and they come and deliver their skills to you and bring their newsroom to you, you don't compensate them. You can't pay them. It's not a salary, it's not pay, but you compensate because you compensate for their time. That's what it is. And you can decide how much the money should be, whether it's 10,000, whether it's... If I were a communication director for Bawumia, I will give each journalist 10,000. And then I will give the radio platforms where I expect them to discuss the matter in detail, morning shows and all those people, I'll give the platforms 20,000. Then I will give the cameramen who come with them, because you see, there's a news reporter, and then there's a cameraman, there's a soundman, there's a lightman. So when you tell me that you are TV3, I ask you, where is the news reporter? How many other people do you have? The other people they have, I'll give everybody 5,000. Where will I get the money from? The people who are sponsoring my campaign in America. When you hear that Kamala Harris is raising $70 million for her campaign, what do you think it's for? It is fundamentally for foot soldiers and media. That's the two reasons why they raise money in America. To compensate the foot soldiers, they call them volunteers. To compensate the volunteers by getting them buses, small snacks, for them to go and knock on people's doors. That's what the money is for. The rest of the money is going to media. They are paying CNN for airtime. They are paying Fox News for airtime. They are paying ABC for airtime. That's why Kamala Harris must go on the market in the greatest democracy in the world to raise millions of dollars to finance her campaign. That's the greatest democracy in the world. So the question is, where is the candidate going to get the money from? He must go and raise money. How will he be able to raise money? If people have confidence in his policy, they will facilitate his campaign with money. That's the money that he uses to do those things. Nothing to do with stolen money or corruption. The greatest democracy in the world in America, they are raising money. Donald Trump said he spent $1 billion on the 2016 election of his own money. What was the money for? To pay the foot soldiers and to pay media and to pay his staff. Some of the staff are on salary. Why are we hypocrites? What is the hypocrisy about? Journalists were paid 20,000, so all else to break loose. So that's corruption. 20,000 and 10,000 and 5,000 for journalists who had come from Kumasi, Atebubu, Saboba, Tripoli, Wa, Bolga, Bogatanga, Inche in the western region, and Nomabu in the central region. They were coming from Zelukope, they were coming from Adidome, they were coming from all of those places to the Kempinski moving pic to cover Baumia's press conference. And Baumia's campaign should be so insensitive that somebody comes from Zelukope, Sugakope, Adidome to come and cover your press conference, and they should go back to Adidome. What is, when I heard the story, I was wondering that, so we won't find one person on the morning shows to articulate the position that this is nothing to do with pay, and that it is to compensate them. Look at Samson Ladi. Look at Samson Ladi Ayinini. Senior man like that. He was sitting in the press conference. If you had been monitoring Joy FM, Samson Ladi had been on Joy FM that afternoon doing his law program. That's why he was in suit. That's his apparel for the law program he does on Joy TV. He had finished the law program at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. He was to go home. And then he will wait because Bamia said he's starting at 5. So he will wait and then come to the place. His wife was expecting him at home. So he comes to sit down and then he listens to you so that he can think about it. And when he's on news file, he knows what you said and what your opponent said so that he can inform his viewers. Then you won't compensate him. He should come to this thing, moving page, and go home. Why are we afraid of money? What's the point? Why are we journalists afraid of money? Why? What's the issue? Please, let's stop that. Let's stop that. If you deliver high standards, you know that you get high standards. You're not worried about money. And when people owe you as a journalist, yes, they owe you. If you have deployed your service and skill to any institution as a journalist, they owe you. And you shouldn't be afraid to say that they owe you. And they do. They have to pay. What is wrong with that? Let's stop the hypocrisy and let's not be fooled by people who are looking for instant sensation. They don't have a story. They can't think about a story. They can't do a news report. So every day they are talking about things that they think will incense people. And then they come and say that journalists to 20,000. So what should we do? So what? But this digitalization thing, there's something to be said about it, viewers. I mean, I've had the conversation about people saying digitalization is everything you say digitalization. We don't have food, you say digitalization. Price of petrol is high, you say digitalization. Everything you say digitalization. But viewers, you see, identification management systems is the beginning and end of every country in the world. The difference between us who live here and the person who lives in East London, the difference in our lifestyle are a few things. One, the person who lives in East London can go to the bank and ask for a small loan when he's broke, and the bank will be able to give to him. The Ghana person cannot go to a bank and ask for a small loan. Do you know why they can't give you the loan? They can't give you the loan because we do not have strong identification management systems here. So the person in East London, when he goes to the bank, they know him. Once he puts his Ghana card, they know him, they know where he lives, they know his mobile money, they know how much money he made last month, they can see a trend in his mobile money, they know his salary, they know where he works. So when he says he wants 20,000 cedis for a small loan, they can tell him that, oh, we can actually give you 30 based on your ratings, or we can give you 15 based on your ratings. They can't do that here because we don't have identification management systems. Our identification management system is not as good. And so digitalization to give us Ghana card, so that every Ghanaian, where you are, once you put your Ghana card down, they can tell everything about you. They can tell whether you have a land at Aboba, whether you have a land at Pantan, whether you have land at Oyarefa, whether you have land at Doyumu, whether you have land at Oyarefa, all those places. They can tell. But before the digitalization, you go to the bank, you're just standing in front of the person looking at you. He doesn't have any information about you. So when we say that digitalization is the sine qua non for our development, that's what it means. The sine qua non, which is the most essential thing we need for development, is that digitalization. And we have to be grateful to President Kufuor, who first identified it. And when he became president, he found out that in all his development conversation with development partners, identification management systems was key. And therefore, he decided to introduce the ID card system. No one could complete it until Alhaji Bahamadu Bawumia and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo came into the saddle. That's when it was completed. And that is the beginning of our equalization with Western countries, Western democracy, Western systems, and how it works. That's why you can travel with the Ghana card from here to South Africa. When Bawumia started talking about it, they were laughing at him. Now they've seen that it's possible. And they are not coming back to say that, oh, when Dr. Bawumia said that you can travel with Ghana card, he was right. They are dodging the question. They said it was wrong. They made videos to laugh at him. Now Collins Dauda, appearing in a high court, was told the court that he had been to South Africa with the Ghana card. He's a member of the NDC in parliament. And the NDC are not coming back to come and give Dr. Bawumia his stone, that you were right about the Ghana card. They have just quieted away and petered out. That's what they do. Dishonesty. You said the man was lying. Now the man has come to show it, like what has happened this evening. The man said I covered the election in 1991. I have proved that I didn't say that, and I have proved that he was lying. I can assure you, subsequently, he won't talk about it anymore. He won't come and say that, I'm sorry, yesterday I was wrong. They don't do that. They don't know how to do that. They are shameless people. And we don't have to deal with them at the high echelons of our political situation. We cannot do that. We cannot give the politics of this country, including the young people and the unborn children, to people who are, one, shameless, to people who are, two, they don't have policy, to people who are, three, they cannot generate original thinking, and to people, four, who cannot develop policy lines. We cannot give them the country. People cannot, if we do that, we are sinking our country. If we do that out of hatred or out of whatever we want to do, we are sinking our country. We saw it happen in 2009, didn't we? Anyway, let me get to text messages. What are people saying? And then I start the Atubiga interview. I start with Antoinette again. Antoinette, what are they saying?
Right. So Frankuma seems to be concerned about the amount of money and not the fact that they were paid. He says the government is owing NAPCO and National Service people, and he's sharing 20,000, and you think this shouldn't be worried about? Because you're forgetting what you have been taught in school. Why should the government owe people and pay journalists 20,000 Ghana cedis for a media press? Yes, now, Yakubu says the shouting actually doesn't deny the fact that the journalists were actually bribed. Hibuatin says, when the president and the vice use Air Force 1 and 2 for campaign purposes, they actually do have to pay for it out of their campaign funds and not the government's money. Now, John Yao says, I compensated my journalists for my presser on flood issues in my electoral area as assemblyman last year in Oti region. So it is a thing for journalists to be compensated. Friends Chicken says, actually, it's not about the payment, but we are more concerned about the amount involved. Kofi Nat says, how much did Captain Smart actually collect when he was at John Mahama's media encounter? Maybe we should start from there. Nomo Dollar says, in my opinion, Paul, there is actually nothing wrong with journalists being paid, and for the journalists also collecting the money. The candidate wanted to project his campaign message for his own votes, and if he thinks he wants to encourage attendance of the journalists, there is actually nothing wrong. Who should actually come and do your thing for you on an empty stomach?
Ms. Jerry says, like Kofi Benson said, if we will make a mistake in this election, let us make a mistake going forward and not a mistake by going backwards. Ghana does not need a reset. We need an upgrade. We can't reset Ghana back to cash and carry health system. We can't reset Ghana to pay as you go SHS. And we can't reset back to doom. So we need to consolidate our gains over the years and upgrade, not reset. Idris Konbiaga says, the man who couldn't keep the lights on for 5 years wants to run a 3-shift disco. Wow, that's quite cheeky. Anyway, High School J says, "Hi Paul, thanks for showing our video dubbed Politics of Insults. They're students from Achirenswa Senior High School, Honorable Albert Kandapas Formal School. You really made the students happy," referencing an earlier tape that was used on the show. "We are indeed grateful. We all hope Ghanaians will embrace their message. Let our political discourse be free from insults. Thank you." Bud Malik says, "After over 4 hours of questioning, no single question on corruption was directed at candidate Bawumia, even though he has been in public service since the year 2000. A corruption-free candidate, hashtag, he says, Bawumia means business, and to lead is to solve." Samuel Ofosuba says, "Good evening, Paul and your disciples. Your recommendation at DMB's media engagement resonated and charged the auditorium to its epic." He says, "You're the news reporter, Ghana leads." Rushing through these. KOB from Barcelona says, "Paul, should God bless you with a son, he will be named after you." Well, perhaps. We'll see about that. Usman says, "Why not take Mr. Paul Adom Otchere, why not take legal action against," I'm editing, he says, "Captain Smart for defamation? He's been a law to himself, but I don't blame him but his employers for refusing to rein him in. The management of," he mentions a media station, "are solidly behind whatever Captain Smart does on air." And lastly, from Ishmael, he says, "Good evening, Uncle Paul. Please, what is the meaning of Sole?" Well, back to you, Paul.
Soli means solidarity. That's what we were told when we started journalism. Solidarity. And viewers, if you look at this position that I take, it's been consistent with what I've been doing all the time. The former British High Commissioner to Ghana, John Benjamin, I had a personal fracas with him about complaining that journalists were taking money and all of that. And you know that I've been doing that. In 2014, John Mahama held a press conference. The Attorney General Marita Brew upon came and attacked Kojo Yankson of Joy FM. I stood against it. You can't do that to journalists. I will protect the industry. We'll protect our young journalists. But we as journalists also have to raise our standards. Our standards must be standards that can be applauded by the general public. Because a lot of the general public that we broadcast to, they are better educated than us. They are better informed than us. The only reason why they are listening to us is that they are there and we are here. But they could be here too. So it's not because we are better, that's why we are here. Because we are lucky to be here. That's how we should see it. And therefore, we have a responsibility to bring the standards very high. Speak fact only. You can get it wrong once in a while, once in 100 years, yeah, even the Times get it wrong. But it shouldn't be your nature that you don't verify things. And that all the journalism you do is that you have a camera in your ear, at the back of your head, camera in your glasses, and camera everywhere, and you are filming people illegally and using it for a story. So that when you can't film them again, you render 2 apologies in 6 weeks. You can't do that as a journalist. Whilst we protect the institution of journalism because the fourth estate of the realm, let us also make sure that the standards are high. Eventually, the chaff will be seeded out from the weeds. All right, that's all I got to say right now. Good evening to John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Bawumia behind me. May the better candidates win. The one with policy, 33 of them. May he win. Okay, Stephen Atubiga, good evening. Welcome to the show. You've been around trying to get unity, but I saw this thing you posted about President Mahama and CADA organizations in the NDC.
Yes.
What point were you trying to make? John Mahama has been a member of the NDC since he was sworn into Parliament in '96.
Yes.
And he's been Deputy Minister in '97. Then he's been
Communication.
Of Communication. He's been Minister in '98 of Communication.
Yes.
And then he's also been a Vice President, spokesperson in Parliament for Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
And all that. What is the point about whether he's an NDC CADA or not?
Yes. Thank you so much. And good evening to your cherished viewers, and good evening to our sitting president and the vice president and all leadership of the political parties. My brother, I came and heard you talking about Soli.
Yes.
You know, the media houses in our country, they are private entities. They have to keep the lights on. And being a media man, a journalist in this country, is a sacrificial job. Their pay is nothing to write home about. That is why in our constitution, when offices or ministries are to hold any forum, press conference, what have you, they make provisions to take care of people in terms of water, drink. It's all part of. It's all part of it. A minister takes every weekend. They take money for social activities. Ministers take that on weekends to attend funerals and what have you, to give donations. That's why the Constitution prescribes that. Besides that, when any government, it is a party that gives birth to a government. During elections, it is parties that organizes press conferences and certain activities for the candidate to come. Are you getting me? And the party gets donor funding. I mean, they get funding from their people that are sponsoring. Me, Atubiga, sitting here, all the press conferences, we spend between 20,000 to 35,000. The press conference that we at the press center, because you must pay somebody's business media house to cover it live. They charge you. Yeah. You must pay. You must give journalists TNT. Solely, they don't ask for it, but it is nice that when a journalist come to cover your story, he or she could have chosen to go for any other program. So we give them the little that we have from the 150 to the 2 all the way up. Sometimes we invite about 20 people. You end up about 59. If you call the press center, 59, 60 people that come in. Okay, and those that are holding the cameramen, they come. I mean, the TV stations come too. The journalists come in. So you can't give them the same envelopes. But I think that, so if a party, and that press conference, I don't think it was government structure. And because he's in government, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is in government, it doesn't mean that, apart from the security, it's the party that plays a role what he would do. But in moving forward, I want us to understand that this country, we should stop being mischievous. My former party, NDC, no journalist has ever gone home empty-handed. Every political party is guilty in terms of, and that is where we find ourselves. Like you said, in other countries, millions of dollars are being, why would somebody set up metro station? For the fact that he's, what's his name? What's the man's name? Zoom Lion, I forgot his name. Japan. Yes, because he should come and cover, he should send a journalist going around with political parties for free. They should come and attend activities and take press for free. I mean, you pay for the airtime. That is why we buy airtime as a politician. It's not free because the fellow has responsibilities and overhead costs. And that is part and parcel of running a party or wanting to win power. Wanting to win power, we should, my people, some people should stop being ostriches. Which political party that has never given anything or, something to any journalist in this, especially season, some get, it's the party structure, not government. You should have a problem that if our taxpayers' money is going that right, but the taxpayers' money also prescribes certain activities under government. Senior, are you getting me?
Yes.
But in moving forward, this is a low blow. I mean, it's so sad when I hear journalists chastising each other that you took money. And we know the colors, or we know the stand, we know without, how can you, those that have built mansions, driving V8s, what have you, from NDC time, even to, NDC, whatever, MPP time, whatever. It's just a game. So if a political party finds you that you contributed to their victory in towing to theirs, and every journalist has a political color. It's invisible one way, you know where they are turning towards you. So, and it comes with its precaution and benefits. Some people's lives are on the line. I mean, it's a very risky job, depends on the season. So I don't think we should encourage a shame on people who wants to justify journalism and equate it to money that people take. People go there to take real stories, to let somebody sitting in Bunkurugu Yoyo, Jasikan Kokofu in the villages to also have the opportunity
all of them to get the story.
To get the story. But in moving forward, why
is John Mahama not being a kid a problem?
My brother, when I saw the best thing that has happened to this country, okay, is President Akufo-Addo choosing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, another northerner to open another doors to give hope to other northerners, knowing that following a different political party is the best thing to do. There's a future for everybody. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia getting the opportunity, he has taken this country to the next level. But a capitalist, they do big things and they take certain up there and they take the governance to the doorstep of the people. And then a socialist supposed to do a lot of, to implement or come up with a lot of social intervention programs and take it also to the doorstep of the people. But the difference between a capitalist and a socialist builds the programs at the doorstep of the people. Okay, but the capitalists build it at the central level and take it to the doorstep of the people. Let me give you an example. The digitalization that people are taking it for granted is the best thing that can build this country and propel this country to be at a certain level that there will be sanity, insecurity, at all levels. When we talk about some of us who have stayed outside the country, when a social security number is the foundation of anybody you see in outside the country. And we are lucky we have everybody has most people have their national identification card. So we as a socialist, we should rather be building on. Socialists, we don't reset. As a socialist, see the language that a socialist should use. We don't reset, okay? We build on what the capitalists have built and make it more practical in terms of accessible to the masses at the rural areas. So when the capitalists build structures and they do a lot of social intervention programs, when the socialists take it, you make it more flexible for them to also have access to it. Now, the digitalization that we are talking about in this country, senior, if we are able to use that number, the Ghana identification card number, and then a socialist as the NDC should have built on it that it should become your admission number, your birth certificate number, without that you can't open bank accounts. It should be your examination number. It should even be your certificate number. So once you build that, then you're talking about the mobile money. People, it's not everybody. We have less than 1 million on government payroll. Whether you are the private sector or whatever, they encourage you, your foundation of earning credit should be the mobile number. If somebody, your Momo, if you render any services to somebody, they pay on the Momo. You can go and withdraw it. So by so doing, which is also your identification number should also be linked to the mobile money number. So when they hit that, no, you have a mobile number. If it can upgrade to the extent that when a policeman even arrests you, they can know you stay here, your parents are here, what have you. So they should not take the digitalization for granted. For instance, when I listened to the manifesto on both NDC and MPP, okay, I was sad when I saw the NDC manifesto. It was like tilting towards capitalists, which we are not. And the capitalists are saying that, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I was very, I had hope for this country. When I heard him saying the digitalization, you don't even have to come to the university. You can be in Bunkuruguyoyo, you can be in Binduri, and you can log in and study, get to participate at the university camp. You don't need to come and pay the, the rent and what have you, the transportation. It means they have built it here, and they have taken the luxury. I'll call it luxury because if you're in Binduri, you have to take transport and come to Accra, come and get hostel and what have you, and that your transportation alone is a capital business for somebody in my village in Binduri. So I call it luxury. They can sit in the comfort of the muddy home, go and rear the kettles or go to the farms, open that laptop, or go to a Binduri internet cafe, log in and study. At the same time, when you can always go back after the lectures are closed in the universities, you can always log in and stay and get to learn and know what happened to enable you also study and write your thesis. This is what we, the socialists, should have been doing. So when I hear my big brother saying that you are going to, and this is a party that they have groomed or given scholarship to people, about 3 million, right? I'm talking about 3. Nanado's free senior high school.
Oh, 2.6.
2.6. Let's say 2.6. And these are people that today, because of that, every household is there's an educated person there. And so I expect the NDC should come out with a manifesto that represents us as a socialist. If you compare the John Dramani Mohammed's manifesto, and I call his manifesto because I don't think it is the structure of the real cadres, the real foot soldiers, the real socialists like the Siedun Ketiers, Fritz Bafos, Alban Bagwins and co, who wrote, they were part of this manifesto that was written.
What is in a manifesto that
the manifesto should be an intent. A manifesto is an intention that you have that you want to do.
Yeah, but if you stay in the NDC manifesto, what is in it that you are worried about that is not representing socialism?
Okay, example. You want to build the state-of-the-art hospitals for the children, okay, in Accra here. That is not socialist. Mama Rebecca alone, as a first lady, the hospitals in Accra here, that in terms of intervention for children alone, it's more than certain presidents that I know. So a socialist should be saying that you would take such state-of-the-art hospitals, okay, to the doorstep of the people. That is what a socialist does. Why spend, and what makes a hospital a hospital? It's not the structure. It is the apparatus and then the gadgets that are in there. That's what makes it a hospital, senior. So a socialist who say sort of spending $1 million to build an edifice in Accra here, you spread it and build. You can build muddy structure. You can build in a sum of a container structure, a replica of those, senior with low cost. Then have the gadgets in those. That is how a socialist party operates. Senior, getting me?
Yeah.
So I think that we've seen from the past over 8 years, every president with Kwalebu. Now, if you build the state-of-the-art hospital here as a socialist party, somebody from Bunkurugu Yoyo, somebody from...
So where should they build it, you think?
I'm saying that it's already there. What we have here at Kwalebu and Konfanochi, the edifice that is there, is already enough that you should be thinking about taking such infrastructure to the... I'm talking about as a socialist party. You should be taking how cheaper can you spread those type of edifices in the villages, at the rural areas, so that imagine a woman from Bole Market, Bole, coming to Accra or Kumasi because the edifice, as a socialist, so I'm not talking about capitalists, it's in Accra here. Where are they going to sleep? Their transportation, feeding. So the stress alone on the mother or the family, that is why we go and see people sleeping outside the hospitals. It's so sad. But we end up clogging the hospitals with a lot of unnecessary traffic. So socialists, you are supposed to take those to the doorsteps of the people. For instance, I heard in the manifesto that a priority, some scholarship will be given to, people with disability. How do you define disability? Being stressed is disability.
No, that's American disability.
No, I'm saying that disability shouldn't be reduced. But why with rich? Disability shouldn't be reduced at, look, people with clutches, people with, excuse my language with your indulgence, people disabled sometimes are more healthier, are more capable of doing certain things than you and I. Somebody with a chopped finger is a disability.
Yes, it is.
Somebody with children, a divorcee, a woman that has been divorced, a lot of children that cannot work. It's also part of, we have categories of disabilities. Somebody may have two eyes there, but somebody with one eye can see more than somebody with two eyes in the evenings. And I'm saying that instead of taking the advance, saying that like the first year, just in the manifesto, you are going to give free free education. Free, you pay the school fees.
Yes, the university, first year university.
It's a lost priority, my brother.
Why?
Where today, with the digitalization or what have you, if we structure it right, where is the funding going to come from? Then if you are giving the first year and the second year the fellow cannot pay, they are school dropout. So rather build on the digitalization, identify people, let people establish more banks. If we can award contracts for people to build roads, you can also award contracts to give certain, Pagosin Dun type of banks. If I'm picking my admission letter, it's attached to a Visa card and accounts open for me. Money is being put there. Because you can be identified, restructure structures in the country, so that even when you are picking your passport, that identification number goes with you on your passport number. When you travel outside the country, it's a conversation. Our embassies can also be attached with certain banks. Are you getting me? When you get there, you get a job. Bilateral trade doesn't necessarily mean countries exchanging this. Once you are Ghanaian, holding a Ghanaian passport, your identification number, which is will be linked that you can be deducted or you can be traced for deduction, just like Social Security. If you have child support, you are even staying in Ghana here. You can be tracked. In the system can track you and know you are in Ghana here. That even when you have a job, you can be deducted, because so long as, unless you don't come to America again, you'll be arrested immediately. You get to the airport when it reached like $5,000. We can also have that priority that when you leave the country, you can also be tracked. There's a system, and the foundation of it is the digitalization that Dr. Mahmoud Wahamiya has built. Are you getting me? I expect that my big brother John Dramani Mahama, there should be a yardstick when, like the manifesto, should have taken his time, like Exim Bank, that he may mention Exim Bank too. Exim Bank is already pregnant with a lot of responsibilities. And Exim Bank will not be sponsoring projects, local projects in Tamale, in Jasikai, in Boku, in those areas. Exim Bank is a bank that belongs to an entity that at the bottom line is they want to make money, they want to make profit. Okay, they give loans to energy sector, I mean projects that are backed by the World Bank, projects that have government for. You don't see Exim Bank and how many people, and it's not government that is going to guarantee for individuals. Where are the collaterals?
The point you're making is that President Mohammed's manifesto is not.
My brother, it's so bad, it doesn't represent a socialist. Okay? And
but you have left the NDC,
yes.
So it's expected that you say that is bad. But do you think that people see that?
My brother.
Do you still see the way you see it?
A lot of
people are very excited.
Yes, and the ignorant ones, it doesn't create job for you guys. Somebody will be clapping when he speaks. How does it relate to you? We want to see the NDC that was giving scholarship, was building people, was doing capacity building, predecessors.
That used to happen?
That used to happen, yes. They used to take people.
Under who? Under Mills?
Yes, under Rollins. The comradeship means if you don't eat, I don't eat. You see, the amalgamation of people that we form the NDC, I'm trying to explain. The comradeship, if you don't eat, I don't eat. When we are in government, there's no rich, there's no poor. But when a leader comes, for instance, John Dramani Mahama is not a cadre. My big brother John Dramani Mahama is not a grassroots. My big brother John Dramani Mahama from the CPP, he was a member of the People's Heritage Party formed by Eskin.
And Mohamed Mumuni.
Yes, and then what's his name? Manufi and Co. Buzia, okay. They are Buzia.
Yeah.
So that is what they brought on board. So remember when NDC, when Rollins was coming out of the military, the NDC wasn't attractive because of the military, the people they had beaten and what have you. So the faces of Totobi Kwachi and Co., okay, they represented the civilian sector to say, look, it's okay. Don't be afraid that NDC is coming to rule this country like Jerry being the military person. So it gave a comfort zone. So remember 92, when MPP boycotted 92 election, I was 16 years, okay? At that time, the international community did not have confidence in the democracy in this country, especially MPP boycott. It was a strong message. If people don't know, NDC struggled to get certain law. Rollins struggled the first time that, so wisdom made Rollins to, people were sponsored. Remember those days, they wanted people to come as a member of parliament, they will give you NIVA. At the EC will give you the vehicle called NIVA. They sponsor such to more independent candidates, okay, to make it a little bit attractive. So John Dramani Mahama was discovered by J.H. Owusu Champong. He was a minister.
Yes.
He didn't even get to Bole, he went to Techima, and then he heard that there's a young man popular, so his name came up. So Hudi Yahya and Alhaji Baba Kamara, they received him, okay, and they brought, that time, going towards 1996, to make with your indulgence, any Dick, Tom, and Harry became a member of parliament. Anybody, because MPP did not contest whether the fellow had what it took to be a member of parliament or not. They all just came. I mean, that is where you could see a member of parliament was to travel outside the country. He didn't go and look for his passport. Some of them got to the airport and realized that they needed passport. Anyway, that's another story. So when they brought John Dramani Mahama in, they made him the candidate, and then he won because NDC was handpicking certain people.
But since John Mahama became presidential candidate, he's won the NDC primaries.
Yes.
More than enough for you still to say he's not a grassroots person.
I'm coming. Winning as the party held, when the party handpicked, that's the NDC party handpicked certain people to make the party more attractive. We had those that formed the party, and we have those that they brought on board. And when you come and you steady and give yourself and told the party, like, you get all the support. See, are you getting me?
Yes.
Then Totobi Kwachi and Co said, look, let's make him, they gave him the Deputy Minister of Communication. Yeah. And he is the luckiest person. John Dramani Mahama, big brother, is the luckiest person in the NDC who had come, not a cadre, not a foot soldier. Are you getting me? But unfortunately, he couldn't pull the cadres, the militias, you name all the structures. He couldn't pull them along. So if you saw immediately when Atamils came, Atamils studied, he had Totobi Kwachi and Co. He had the Ahoy's brothers. They were able to show him how he could tilt. That is why the Ahoy's became very powerful when Atamils became a president. They pulled the 64s, Bobulo Latis and Co. All they pulled them along. See, are you getting me? So he didn't give himself to be guided by Sidun Ketia and Co, the cadres and what have you, the Sylvester Mensa and Co, so that they will, you see, you can lead, but you also need certain direction. That is why the party came from 2012, the NDC started losing votes. The votes started shrinking because the party was up to date. See, are you getting me?
Yeah.
So today, where the party is right now, it is on, that is why there's grumbling that, look, we had meetings behind the scene. I am not a card-bearing member of my former party. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
But I am a sympathizer
Of the NDC.
of the NDC.
You never had a card?
I had a card. It was taken away by the national level. The national level took my card. It came with a suspension that they have withdrawn my membership card. And I never wrote an application to join the NDC. We are foot soldiers. We grew and built ourselves up to that level. That is why it is our prerogative to make sure that I have nothing to lose. Senior, when we were working, going to prisons, sacrificing with our own resources, not that we had an appointment, they didn't see it. Now we are pointing fingers at leadership, derailing the party from being a socialist to a capitalist, tilting that is not good for the party. They are complaining. And they say, oh, if you speak common sense, tell them where you are going for their own good, that you've taken money from the MPP. Is that not so? It means common sense is being sold to the highest bidder. That is what my former party is trying to say. I don't have common sense to know that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is an impeccable northern brother that I would love to see Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's governance one day. I wouldn't want, I'm talking about me personally. He impresses me anytime he speaks. Yes, I want to be president, but my presidency will also bring a different level. So as John Dramani Mahamad's big brother has brought. As a matter of fact, after 40 years, I boldly say anywhere that John Dramani Mahama is the one that has opened doors for some of us to even have the courage as a northerner, okay? Yes, as a certain place wanting to be president. Senior, are you getting me? Yeah. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on the other side, 50 years ago, has also brought something to this country. To we northerners that we can also look up to. So as every northerner deserves the opportunity. For instance, after John Dramani Mahama, I don't think there's any northerner in the NDC again at this moment credible that can lead the NDC. Me, Atubiga, I will not support any northerner to lead the NDC at this moment. We have failed. Look, Akan, Ashanti, Ewe, Gan should be leading, we will encourage to lead because we have failed. Not that we have failed to groom each other, we have failed to pull. I wouldn't be surprised if a Hoyes or somebody or go with Harun Edu. It's not a problem. I'm talking about to fit John Dramani Mahamad's shoes at this moment. There is no northerner. Are you getting me? And look at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He's grooming people all around him. He knows he has to, the opportunity that he has gotten. Okay, look at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. His father was a councillor of state, a founding member of the NDC. Is that not so? Okay, they groom him. But when he got the opportunity to be part and parcel of the MPP, he realized that, look, my background is, but he has listened, he's been groomed very well to fit the shoes of where the MPP is supposed to go. Senior, are you getting me? Yes. And then he chooses his running mate strategically to make him, how do you call it? To balance his weaknesses, tribal, religious, which is important in the party. For instance, I won't pretend to be an ostrich here. Senior, John Dramani Mahama got the opportunity to be the NDC presidential candidate. And the luckiest person to carry Atamil's projects along, including his. Senior, are you getting me? Finished Professor Atamil's, late Professor Atamil's project, what have you? That today is floating him that, Senior, are you getting me? Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia also came from a different background. When John Dramani Mahama was a vice president, I'm trying to make a case. He will be in a convoy. He'll be called back. I mean, they'll call some of the vehicles back. He didn't have the capacity to call the shot because he was a running mate. Unfortunately, chief of staffs and certain executives, people around the president are more powerful than even a running mate in this country. Unfortunately, than a vice president in this country, unfortunately. And he, John Dramani Mahama, experienced how weak Mr. Atta couldn't perform. Sometimes, look, Mr. Atta will have to sit on the laps of how do you call it, my big brother, Baba Kamara, anytime John Dramani Mahama was outside the country, to be able to function. He will run the country in Baba Kamara's office, Mr. Atta. At a point, you had the hula baloo. I mean, just to say, certain powers didn't allow him to operate. So today, you also have Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was handpicked. He wasn't a card-bearing member of the MPP.
No, he wasn't.
But the way, what's his name, my Uncle Kufuor, gave him the opportunity, groomed him, he built himself, he deserved handpicked and being brought. And he has to dance the tune of the MPP to survive. Are you getting me? So you can always judge that man, you can only judge Bawumia when you give him the opportunity to hold a steer. You can judge that man when he's in control. And I saw some lazy-minded journalists asking questions that doesn't matter. How can you tell a vice president that shouldn't he change ABC that his boss has done? Since when did we see that? And our constitution, a president can fire a running mate anytime they wishes. Running mates are not voted for. Running mates are only to cover a vacuum when the president is not there. Running mates takes instructions from the president, for crying out loud. So when I hear a lazy-minded journalist asking Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, admit the press, you should be asking questions that will move this country forward. You should be asking questions so that you do a postmortem that will tell these. Look, when I hear my big brother John Dramani Mahama speak, as a formal, experienced, defeated former sitting president, I expect when you say you mention of Agric Bank, you should be able to mention that the Agric Bank will be able to raise this amount of money under your tenure because you are an experienced president. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not yet a president. He's a running mate. As a matter of fact, running mates don't even matter in this country. If I want to be real with you people, running mates don't matter. They just cover a vacuum, especially a northern running mate. They put you there just for you to cover a vacuum of northerners or the Zogo community feeling belonged until they get the opportunity. Senior. So I expect John Dramani Mahama to say, an Agric Bank, you do irrigations, you do this at these sectors, what have you. That's how an experienced former president speaks. But if you throw it out there like me, an inexperienced, I've never been a president, I've never been a minister, I should be speaking those language that, look, just as I say, we will cancel NLC's policy, no budget for any minister in this country, our first week.
If you were to win.
Yes, no budget, all the
in the unlikely event that
except education, except the security, and then health. All sectors, every minister, you must find the commercial section. There's a commercial section at all the ministries, that every ministry must have a bank. Imagine what will happen into this country. That is the foundation. And once you have that foundation with the declaration, then the bank should be owned by private citizens. Because there will be bigger banks, smaller banks, and some banks will even take the microfinance to the doorstep of the people. Senior, that is how a socialist operates. Senior, are you getting me?
Yes.
So any minister that cannot run your section as a commercial, for instance, government has no business building low-income houses. Journalists can come together in this country. You choose an engineer because the house that you build in Binduri will not be expensive as in Accra here. You can build houses that their rent is equivalent. Chamber and hall self-contained, 2-bedroom self-contained, 1-bedroom self-contained. Then you come together, then you take a proposal, go and give it to the housing minister. My minister, finance minister will only be giving letter of credits for you to go to the private banks. Then the private banks, it will take that. Then you, the contractor, will go to Parliament House, senior, and go and defend that loan while the Parliament should pass it. So that would be a comfort, how do you call it, a comfort for the private banks, knowing that government has guaranteed to give the loans, then you build your houses. Senior, are you getting me? So until we privatize everything in this country and government will be taking its taxes, nothing can solve the problem. But somebody is building a platform that whether you are socialist, whether you are capital, you can build on it. And socially, we don't reset.
Okay.
Socialists don't reset.
Let's try and wrap up now and ask you that. Where is the campaign going from here? We have 2-3 months to go. Where is it going?
Well, based on what I'm seeing, people like myself are seeing that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has changed the face of politics in this country. When I mean change the face, he is the only running mate in this country that has built certain system in the country to support his boss.
Somebody sends me a text. He says that Stephen Atubiga is the only presidential candidate who never talks about himself and his policies. He's always talking about Dr. Baumia and also saying that President Mahama is not good enough. Where are his policies?
Well, maybe he hasn't followed. We've done a press conference and I've spoken about. We did our manifesto long, and I can tell you without fear that the idea of setting up the banks to handle certain is our idea. We started speaking about
which bench?
Eh?
Which bench? This is not.
I'm talking about banks. That's
banks. Yeah.
Banks. You know, I use them. That's sometimes I forget.
America,
Sometimes I forget I'm in Ghana. You know, I pick and
then
choose.
the Virginia is coming in.
The Virginia is coming in. Senior, and I will wrap up without not setting the record straight.
Yes.
I have not taken a dime from anybody to fund my party. Nobody has given me anything. Nobody is sponsoring my party besides I solicit, are you getting me? Any vehicle that they see branded NFC or whatever, it's a rented vehicle. My vehicle that I am driving, it was Ibrahim Muhammad that gave me that vehicle the year 2020 election. And I've changed engines up to date that the car is even broken down. Look, this is the estimate.
What is it? Your Toyota car bill?
Yes.
But why do you bring it to the studio?
No, I just want to set the record straight. That the difficulty that I'm going, some friends are not even picking my phone calls because I'm going to bother them about NLC. And those our people, they have come, even the Ghana Heritage Party, okay, that has come to merge with us. It is in the press conference that the way I'm very honest, the way we think is about the party first. We are not ostriches, we call it, that they came and joined us. And when they came and joined us, for us, logistics, whatever comes from who, they want us to lead.
Yes.
And we are going independent because we've not been issued the final certificate yet. That is why we are going independent.
So is Alancha Martin part of your coalition?
No, we are hoping they'll come and join us.
That's
Odike and Co, Afrafranto.
Yes.
But the Ghana Heritage, the Ghana Alternative Party.
But have you spoken to Afrafranto people?
I've spoken to some key people, not only them. I'm talking to other political parties. They should come and join us.
Regular political parties should join you.
Yes, Chade and Co should come and join us because we are.
Chada.
Yeah,
Chada wants you to join him.
We are on the ground very well.
He will be the boss. Maybe you can be.
No, they should. The experience in leadership, how to govern, how to move this country forward, being around politics. I didn't just wake up, eat one morning, got up from America, came that I wanted to be a politician. I've been groomed, had the opportunity to serve at certain sectors at the background, being around certain people, know what this country needs, not the depthness of my pocket. So we have the knowledge, we have the know-how. So those who have made it like Chede and Co, they should come. If they were with us, definitely that blunder. I don't need to bring Osofia or Lumumba to come and tell Ghanaians how good I am for Ghanaians. See, are you getting me? The same mistake NDC did. We didn't need to bring Osofia and Delamundi, what's the name, Dele and Co, to come and tell we Ghanaians, Dele Mahmoudou and Co, do you know how much money they made? And some of us got nothing. We struggled up to date. See, are you getting me? So I am going to set the record straight today. If they know they're struggling, every month, I'm a businessman. See, are you getting me? Every month, 200 Ghana to each constituency. I'm talking at our level that we have nothing. Big times 275 constituencies.
Do you have candidates in all 275?
Yes, they are willing. All those people who couldn't contest the NDC seats, members of parliament, because of the depthness of their pocket, we are given the opportunity that picking our form is cheap as cocoa. Wanting to contest an election is not through the depthness of your pocket. And losing an election is also part of the equation. Senior, I've received a letter from about 3 youth organizers of the party and the women organizer. Saying that, look, that we don't have the financial muscle to muzzle both the NDC and the MPP and the other political parties. So since we've not gotten the final say that we are going independent, why don't we team up and use and tilt another? Are you getting me? And I said, look, we are going there, even if we get 3 votes, it is worth it, at least, just as I speak on this, getting the opportunity, not money, not anything, to be on this biggest platform in this country. It's an achievement for my level, where I come from. Are you getting me? Looking at my background, that I know president's listings.
I think your record is well set straight.
Senior, are you getting me?
Yeah, let me ask them to do the last round of text messages and I'll be wrapping up. Antoinette, what are people saying about Stephen Atubiga's answers to the interview?
Right. So Daniel Abdullah says, I can actually understand why many people criticize the very important digitalization topic. It's not an easy topic for everyone. He says, I remember my first lecture in digital electronics class level 200 in 2008. My lecturer specifically said, and I quote, "If you want to know a country's economic performance, check their digital infrastructure." I find it worrying when people do not understand how important this subject is and rather ridicule the good Dr. Bawumia. It is very sad. Mohammed has a question for Paul. He says, Paul, there's a question I actually want to ask. In making your statements at Dr. Bawumia's Meet the Press event after you said, Mr. Vice President, whatever happens in December, you have changed the politics of Ghana and Africa for a long time to come. You picked towards your rights, and I would want to know what informed that decision. Bennett Danso says, Paul, I am actually very thrilled by the eloquent Atubiga. He has brilliant submission right there, especially on what he said about what a socialist does with what a capitalist has built. And Abdul Abugri lastly says, Atubiga can actually break the duopoly of NPP and NDC. Let us all come together and vote for him.
Okay. Kojo announces, says, Paul, God bless you. Can't wait to see Doctor and Doctor. 2025 Ghana will be all blue and white. Interesting. Abdul says, okay, no, that's been read. Right, we have from Ishmael. He says, good evening, Uncle. Oh, okay, we have that also. Right, so Master Planner says, please kindly permit me to take you out of content. I was in Tachiman today, and it was so amazing to see 10,000 artisans, i.e. tailors, welders, carpenters, hairdressers, etc., all trained by YEA and given support and equipment to start their own work. It's never happened in the history of Ghana. He says, God bless Mr. Kofi Bajapong, Dr. Bawumia, and President Akufo-Addo. Kabiesi from Sekondi says, I must tell there is something magical with Dr. Bawumia. He's always prescribed solutions of the economy with precision and style. A vote for such an industrious son in the next election is not only a call but a godly duty. Aaron says, as the upcoming general election approaches on December 7, we need to remember to engage in civil discourse and avoid abusive comments, threats, and violence. For our democracy to function effectively, we must respect each other's opinions and engage in constructive dialogue instead of resorting to harmful behavior. I can't agree more. Ms. Jerry says, those who believe in a reset should go to their phone settings and click on factory reset. Those who believe in an upgrade should update their phone softwares. Lily Will says, Muhammad is now mocking people with speech impediments and he will be punished for that. He stammered when a journalist asked him why he sat there for things to be messy when he was president. Obama says the NDC campaign slogan, Reset, should tell Ghanaians how empty the NDC is. The point that Ghana has reached, we don't need a reset but an upgrade. Reset will take us back to the days of doomsaw, freeze on public sector employment, 3 months pay policy, many scandals like Airbus, Women Money and others. Upgrading by Bawumia will ensure sustainable energy like the introduction of more solar energy, tax harmonization, tax amnesty, electoral area common fund, Ghana First program, and the digitalization of our economy. Hence by saying, votes for Bawumia to upgrade Ghana. Paul, back to you.
Your final words, Steve Atubiga.
Yes, my final words is that I think this election, whether we like it or not, is going to be a Northerner that will lead this country. And I am grateful that the cry that we've all cried that we are not only good for running mates, Northerners are also good to lead this country and giving us an opportunity. We have a choice that do we want 8 years? Do we want 4 years? Do we want a new face as Northerners? See, are you getting me? So I think that this election, I'm throwing it to my Zongo community and where I belong, that they should look at who can create jobs for us. Job. Who can build the backyard. Are you getting me? But me personally, between my big brother John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, anytime I turn around, there's a surprise of something different that this country has to yield for. I've learned from JDM, I'm learning from him, but I am craving to see another Northerner. I'm craving, if not me, somebody else, to take us to a different direction than my big brother has achieved a lot, JDM. He has done so much for this country. An impeccable infrastructure. But somebody else, me, I should be tried. I should be tried. Don't judge me for how I sit. A poor man can give birth to a leader. I have psychologically. So as Hassan Ayarga, so as others. But Bawumia is giving us a run of our money in terms of packaging this country very well.
Yes. He'll be on the ballot, I guess.
Yes. And
for
then,
the APC.
Yes. And digitalization is what this country needs in terms of compact. And if you look at the capitalists, they are linking all ministries, all structures of government will have a very good foundation in moving this country forward under digitalization. So when I hear anybody criticizing digitalization, let's give due credit to people when they have knowledge in building this country with the intellectual. Under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, today presidents think. He has risen the knowledge of being a running mate higher. Not education. I'm talking about practical, both invisible, for a leader to make it visible for the future for this country. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has set standard and given hope to our brothers. I have a family that is in my house, PNC, which was my senior father. He was a member of parliament, Matthias Atubiga. My biological father, a member of parliament 92 to 2000. Their younger brother, Peter Atubiga, he's MPP. Are you getting me? So in my family, and the northern homes is the only homes that you see families with different political parties. Senior. If you go to the Ashanti region, anybody following NDC today, they have a background of the northern district, or those who are following the accounts, they are doing is business. I mean, they are strictly business. They are accepting you for what they can get, not that they want you. Because anything that is royal in Ashanti region is nobody messes with it. If you want, senior, are you getting me? So, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia also bring a certain breed, a certain dynamics. It took 50 years for their side to come. So when I go to Binduri, my uncle's place, the posters are there. My father's place, the NDC is there. Today, as a nobody, I've also brought something, a political party. Senior, are you getting me?
Yeah. To the place.
Yes, so let's
give them another choice.
Yes, just as we appreciate that JDM has opened doors for us today, we also have somebody that today, me,
Muhammad Bawumia, Hassan Ayarga.
Yes, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has opened doors for my other siblings, cousins, on the MPP side. Senior, are you getting me?
Yes.
And I always put the interest of the party person, not the individual. And I think that if I'm not a president and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia wins, he can deliver. If I'm not a president, Hassan Ayarga wins, he can do what? He can deliver. And I believe when John Dramani Mahama is given another opportunity, because he's been president, we know his weakness and his strength. He will do things differently. But what I know today, where I sit comfortably, I have learned a lot. I continue to learn a lot from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. His style of even campaigning, look at the cost. He's a sitting president. When he's moving, look at how he moves. He moves like a nobody. He reaches out to every, unlike before. Look, imagine Alan and Co. Alan had helicopter that he was throwing money and.
I don't know about that.
I'm talking about MPP. I'm talking about Kufuor when Alan was campaigning. I get it. 2007. He had everything structures. But today, look at what was coming. Down to earth. He's in a bus. Okay. And credit to the wife. The wife too is taking certain standard. The wife too is also setting standard in this campaign. Samira. Look at how she's campaigning and supporting the husband, going everywhere. Are you getting me? She goes everywhere. She interacts with the woman, supporting.
Absolutely.
So there's hope in this country.